Yeah, you like that. What's up, guys? So, excuse the haste here. I really wanted to get this out by Christmas Day. It's Christmas Day right now. That Arctic blast came through here. My heat pump got yeeted. And I've spent the last 2 days trying to get my house warm. So this is going to be thrown together a little more hastily than I wanted to. Anyway, I created a program. It's an intermediate program that is highly customizable for you guys, that has touches from a lot of people in the community, a lot of creators. There's a link in the description if you want to pull that link up as you watch this and listen. It would help you. Again, sorry I didn't get some of these edits together, but you know, life happens. It is what it is. So let me start by thanking everybody who contributed. Bald Omni Man, Stand Strength, Sheetar Training, Natural Hypertrophy, Ankiri Elite Fitness, Steve Shaw, Basement Bodybuilding, and Faz Lifts, and last but not least, Jeopardy, aka Jeopardy Verity Schofield. Thank you everybody for your contributions. There is a wide array of training philosophies here and training goals with these creators. That was by design. I wanted to get input from people with different training philosophies. That said, there was a lot of overlap in the suggested movements and stuff I got from people in rep ranges. So that was pretty great to see. Everybody knows that. Again, like I say, we argue about the minor shit on YouTube because the major shit is mostly the same. There's a lot more similarities than differences. But again, thank you to everybody who contributed. I appreciate your contributions greatly. And it was easy. I just asked and everybody was more than happy to contribute. So really awesome to get that support from the community. This is a very general program. It is not specific in really anything. It is a general strength by volume program. It is highly customizable by design. I want you guys to be able to change it to fit your own needs as you see fit. However, the meat and potatoes will be the same. So let's just get into it. Again, it is a strength by volume. So this is not going to be a peaking program or anything like that. Again, just general strength. Put some size on you if you're eating with bulking goals in mind. It certainly can do that as well. So let's just get right into it. So I'm going to show you how it's set up on week 1, day 1 is going to be your lower body day. You're going to do a squat movement for 5 sets of 3. And then on the last set, you are going to AMRAP to what I call technical failure. Steve Shaw calls it maximum safe reps. So as soon as your form goes away, cut it off right there. Generally, that's going to get you pretty near failure without going to failure anyway, and that's what we want. I want good, clean reps throughout. Secondary movement is going to be a hinge movement. It's going to be 3 sets of 3. Again, AMRAP the last set to technical failure or max safe reps. Then after that, a unilateral leg movement, 3 sets of 8, near failure, and that's 8 per leg. Take it near failure. And then you will get to pick 3 lower body accessories and take 3 sets of each accessory to absolute failure in the 12 to 20 rep range. Now, that is the basic guideline for accessories. However, you will see in the bottom section where I have movements and accessory movements, I also have suggested rep ranges by some of the contributors and what they like to do. So feel free to, you know, do their suggested rep ranges, even though it says, you know, 3 sets to absolute failure in 12 to 20 rep range. That's generally where a lot of them lied. However, I did include their suggestions if you want to do that. And you know, there's squat movements, there's hinge movements, all listed down there at the bottom as well. Then day 2 is going to be an upper body day. You're going to do a horizontal pressing movement, 5 by 3. Again, I'm going to stop saying the AMRAP. It's just assume at this point it's AMRAP to technical failure on these main movements. and then a vertical press for 3x3 with the AMRAP. Then I want a row movement 3x8 near failure, and then 3 upper body accessories, 3 sets absolute failure on 12-20 rep range. Again, feel free to use the suggested sets and reps of the contributors as noted below. And then week 1, day 3. Now, me personally, powerlifting bro, I put squat movement first again, but it's the 3x3 instead of the 5x3. If you want to do a hinge movement before squats, that is more than fine. I am just, again, old powerlifter. We do squats before hinge movements. Feel free to put the hinge movement first here in the 5x3 AMRAP if that's what you would prefer to do. It's certainly not going to be detrimental to do a hinge movement first. I just personally like doing the squat movements first, even when it's the secondary squat day. And you'll see how this program's kind of laying out now. There's kind of a primary movement where you're going to do more volume, a secondary movement where you're going to do a little bit less volume. And then I want you to do weighted back extensions 3x8 near failure. If you can't do weighted back extensions, if you don't have access to it, you could do something like a good morning here. You could maybe even you could throw in an RDL if that's not already your hinge movement. But I want something kind of targeting the lower back hamstring area for this. And then 3 lower body accessories, again 3 sets absolute failure, 12-20 rep range, or use the suggested sets and reps from the contributors. And then week 1, day 4 is going to be vertical press first this time, 5x3 AMRAP, then horizontal press 3x3 AMRAP. And then I want weighted pull-ups, 3 sets to failure, minimum 5 reps per set. Use the weight as necessary. If you can't do that, you can use your body weight. If you're not capable of that, you can do some lat pull downs. And then pick 3 upper body accessories, again 3 sets absolute failure and 12-20 rep range. So your accessories and stuff are going to stay the same throughout. However, when you pick the movements, you know, these are going to be the movements you're going to stick through for the whole 4 weeks. So basically, week 2 is laid out exactly the same in primary and secondary movements, except you're going to do 5x5s on your primary instead of 5x3s with an AMRAP. And then your secondary is going to stay 3x3s with the AMRAP. And then everything else is going to stay the same. That's going to be how you progress, and you'll see. Then week 3, you're going to go 5x7s on your primary movement, and then you're going to bump up your secondary movement 3x5, again with the AMRAPs. And again, the rest of the stuff is going to stay the same. Week 4 is the final week. You're going to bump up to 5x9 on your AMRAPs on the primaries, and then it's going to stay 3x5s on the secondary with an AMRAP, and then everything else stays the same. Optional conditioning or / cross fat day. I threw this in here. Again, this is optional. This is not necessary, not required. But it wouldn't have my touches on it if it wasn't in there. So if you do these are going to be after day 2 or day 4 on a given week. And if you do them, you need to rest for 2 days after. So for example, if you do week 1, day 1, week 1, day 2, and then a cross-fat day, you need to rest for 2 days before you do week 1, day 3. If you do not do an optional cross-fat day, after day 2 of each week, you only need to rest for 1 day. You can rest for 2, but you only need to rest for 1 before you do days 3 and 4. And then after day 4, I want 2 days of rest, whether you do a cross-fat day or not after day 4. But things you can do on these days, some conditioning drills. Sam Sheethar from Sheethar Training likes boxing timer rounds. He suggests 3 minutes on, 1 minute off. Something like jump rope, wind bike, or rower. You can certainly start with like 1 minute on, 1 minute off, and then progress your minutes up. You can progress the amount of rounds you do. Again, this is for you guys to customize however you see fit. But Sam suggests 3 minutes on and 1 minute off. Like I said, that's too much. You can start lower and work your way up to that. Then we've got cross-fat circuits. You guys have seen me do a lot of these. This is just an example. Set up 3 implements. All right, one heavy, one moderate, one light. Do them in that order. Do them for a fixed distance consecutively, and one circuit will be one set. Example of a way to progress this would be to do 5 sets with 3 minutes of rest between each, and then the goal would be to bring down the rest time over time. Or you could, start with 5 sets, try to work up to 7 sets to 9 sets, or you could take one circuit, turn is a set, and then turn it into 2 circuits as a set. There, again, limitless ways to progress this, but I would definitely start with just keeping it the same and trying to bring your rest time down in between. You can also do the cross-fat AMRAP, and this is like true cross-fat, I would call it. So you set up 3 to 5 implements or movements, with the last one being something very light and very easy to do. It's pretty much just going to be a way to catch your breath while still moving. Set a timer for 10 minutes, and as you get more advanced, you can increase the time and just do as many rounds as possible. Something I like doing, do like a farmer's carry one way, a Zerch or yoke walk back, then a stone to shoulder for 3 reps, and then a sledgehammer hitting the tire, 10 reps per hand. And that sledgehammer hitting the tire is going to kind of be the way to catch your breath while still staying in motion. That's not very taxing to do. You can kind of meander your way through it, if you will. So it can be kind of hard to keep track of your rounds here. You can keep a notebook by the tire, or if you're outside, sidewalk, you can chalk and just make a tally mark quickly after each round, so that way you know actually how many rounds you're doing. And what you would like to do is try to increase the amount of rounds you can do in a given time. Say the first time you do it, you do 4 rounds. The second time you get 6 rounds, and then maybe you get up to 7 or 8 rounds, you get really good at it. Then at that point you increase the time. We don't really want to progress the weights so much here, as much as we want to progress the amount of rounds done or reduce the time resting, things like that. This is for conditioning, not necessarily getting strong. Optional core work. You can do optional core work on every working day, not including the optional CrossFit days, but just on your day 1, 2, 3, and 4. You can do optional core work on them either before or after accessories. If you're doing the optional conditioning CrossFit days, I would recommend only doing 2 of the optional core works on these days. However, if you're not doing the optional conditioning days, probably do the optional core work each day. So for if your goals are more strength based, I want your core work to be weighted planks. That's the best. If you want to do carries and things like that, there's that CrossFit day to do that, which certainly can improve your core work as well. But just for pure strength, there's nothing like weighted planks. It can be cumbersome to set up without a partner. I've done it. I've set up, I can get a hundo on my back by myself. But I want 3 to 5 sets, 30 to 60 seconds each. Use the weight that's appropriate. If you have to start unweighted, that's fine. And I want the weights to be center of mass. It's going to be on your ass. Don't put it up on your shoulders. You're cheating yourself. You're cheating your core. You're doing it for the gram. Put it center of mass, which again, it's going to be on your butt, and make it actually challenge your core. This is the one. Again, 3 to 5 sets, 30 to 60 seconds each. If aesthetics are more your goal than conditioning, or than strength, excuse me, I have a copy pasta from my man Natural Hypertrophy. He sent me a very detailed email, which I am thankful for. Thanks again for the help there. I'm not going to sit here and read the whole thing, but there is a lot. Yeah, read it if you want to do it. It's got rep ranges, when to do them, where to do them, in conjunction with what days, upper, lower, etc. Very detailed. So there's that. Now we get down here. There are the main movement selections, and this is in no order of importance. So for squats, I've got the squat, of course, a front squat, Anderson squats, pin squats, pause squats of most variants, high bar squats, SSB, aka the jetpacks, hack squats, heel elevated squats, pendulum squats. I did put sumo deadlifts in here. You can use these as a squat or a hinge. They kind of go both ways, giggity. So insert that where you may. And then I have beside these who recommended what movements, and then some I just have there that are in there. If there is a movement that fits these parameters that you like, that you don't see, by all means feel free to put it in there. And if you like a particular content creator, you know, you can certainly see their favorite movements and what they suggested in there. And for presses, I've got bench press, overhead press, Larson press, close grip, Larson press, close grip bench, behind the neck press, low incline press, close grip Spoto press, pin press, incline bench. And again, there's, you know, you can also, any of these, like an OHP, if you want to do it with a Swiss bar, bench press, if you want to do it with a Buffalo bar, feel free to throw any of those in there. You know, again, use your imagination. This is suggestions from the community. I wanted to get everybody in on this so you could kind of get our personal touches. That was more so the goal than anything, than making this super elaborate, better than everybody else's program. I wanted you guys to get a taste of us, for a lack of a better term. Then for hinge movements, we've got deadlifts, again, conventional or sumo, pause deadlifts just off the floor, stiff leg deadlifts, Romanian deadlifts, block pull or wagon wheels, deficit deadlifts, good mornings, back extensions. For the unilateral leg movements, I programmed a 3x8. You get two. You get Bulgarian split squats or you get lunges. That's it. Don't be a pussy. And then for the row movements, you've got barbell rows, Penley rows, dumbbell rows from a dead stop, strict dumbbell rows, and chest supported rows. Those are kind of what I want in there for those. I really don't want these deviated too far. With the accessories after, you can get a little more creative, if you will. So I'm not going to read off all the accessories. You can see them in here. You can see who suggested them. I've got, again, different set and rep ranges other than the general suggestions that I put, because I couldn't just muddy it all up there. I've got cross-fat movements to put in the cross-fat days. And just a couple notes with the program. The movements you pick for week one for all selections need to be run all 4 weeks, including the accessories. So whatever upper body accessories you pick, I would like those to remain. You can on, I need to put this in here. On day one, your upper body accessories can be different from the day 3 upper body accessories. But day 1s through all 4 weeks need to be the same. Day 3s through all 4 weeks need to be the same. The same with the presses. Like if you pick a day 1 horizontal press and a day 1 vertical press, they need to be the same on all the day 1s. Day 3s can still be the same as day 1s if you would like, but they could also be different, but they just need to be the same on all the day 3s. Same with the squat and hinge movements. If you intend on repeating a block, okay, so it's a 4-week block. You can repeat the block after you finished one, or you can move on and pick different movements. So if you are going to keep the same movements, I would recommend starting in the 65 to 70% range. If you plan on switching movements after the block, you can bump it up to 75% if you want. Somewhere around there should be fine for most. If you are going to repeat, you can make smart jumps with your intensity after week 4. So if you finish week 4, your 9s, and you're hitting like 20 reps on the AMRAP, again, to technical failure, safe reps, not complete failure, you can be more aggressive with the jump. Jumps do not need to be uniform across the board. You can make an aggressive jump with one movement. You can make a not so aggressive jump with another movement because you may or may not have done better with that other movement, and that's fine. Your percentages don't need to start the same on all of them. You can start, this lift at 75% if you know you're better at repping at this lift. you can start this other lift, you know, maybe 65% because you're not quite as proficient at it, and that's fine. Also, if you are going to repeat, just a suggestion. So if you start week 1 again and you're repeating the movements, just cut out the AMRAP. So on week 1, day 1, when you do your 5x3, instead of doing an AMRAP on the last set, just do it for a set of 3 and stop. And that works as a built-in deload. Everything else can be the same. Just don't do your AMRAPs, and then that'll be a built-in deload week in itself. Again, if not, shit, I lost my place. If you are not doing the optional conditioning days, take 1 rest after day 2 of each training week, and take 2 days rest after day 4 of each training week. Always take 2 days rest after an optional conditioning day. I think I already said that. If you are going to do a paused main movement, so and you can, even if I didn't list pause, like on bench press or something, you can certainly do paused. But if you're going to do like pause squat, pause high bar squat, something like that, make it the secondary movement, the one that caps at 5 plus AMRAP. You don't need to do the 9s on those. It would be much smarter to make those on like the secondaries, the 5s. If you're lacking in equipment, movements listed as main movements, which are primarily barbell movements, you can be substituted in as accessories. Just make sure you're keeping an eye on total volume and be smart with selection. Again, this is a customizable intermediate program. I am assuming at this point that you guys know how to train and can make these decisions for yourself. Again, feel free to sub in any compound movements that are not listed where they would be listed. Again, intermediates, you know what you're doing. You can put something in there that's not necessarily listed as a movement, and you know the proper place to put it at. Last but not least, at the very end, I asked all the contributors to give me a song that they would listen to for a top set. And they didn't know what kind of program this would be, how I was designing it. So this is what they give me. Just, you know, a lot of people assume PR songs or things like that. So I asked just for a song for a top set. And this whole program was for you guys and to be customizable for you guys to make yourselves with a taste of us, with a dash of our personality sprinkled in, a little bit of everybody. And I just feel like this is something that could connect us to you guys a little bit more. There are some absolute bangers in this playlist. There's maybe some songs you wouldn't expect. I learned some new songs that I never heard before. So yeah, that's a wrap, guys. If there's any questions, certainly leave them in the comment section, and I will be glad to help you out. I know this was thrown together in a hurry. I'm sure I missed something. Again, feel free to reach out and ask if you need help. Peace.